Good morning, Britain.
Morning.
Boris Johnson faces a grilling from MPs today over the Downing Street Bring Your Own Booze party. That all the guidance was followed.
They never broke the rules.
All the rules were followed.
Again and again.
I wonder if that side at that time, and up to 40 people were at this party with drinks, who are, fully signed up Boris party members are going to turn against him. Can he survive? They were in place at the time, and hundreds of people on that day would have.
And this government decided to criminalise it.
Do you say who is she? Well, she's the person that the Prime Minister keeps saying is the person who'll know if he was at the party or not, because he has to launch an investigation into his own presence at the party. But who decides what punishment is carried out once Sue Gray reports?
Yeah, that'll be.
Wonder what punishment he'll mete out to himself.
Remember, former.
However, I have NHS staff currently not vaccinated.
Yep.
Losing that number of staff.
Good morning. It's just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. And I think we should, here we go, synchronise watches, because it is 6 hours and counting. I don't normally make an appointment to view for Prime Minister's questions, but I will be there in front of the telly at 12 o'clock today. It's going to be an extraordinary event, isn't it?
It is going to be a showdown. We understand that it could be Sir Keir Starmer, who actually is in the Commons, taking on the Prime Minister
Not
today.
Angela Rayner.
Not Angela Rayner, who's put him to the sword quite often over the past few days while Sir Keir Starmer's been isolated.
She stuck the knife in right to the hilt yesterday, didn't
she? And, well, she thinks that the Prime Minister should, frankly, resign now over those words, although that may change. I think what will be interesting today, because obviously it's Keir Starmer's job as leader of the opposition to take the Prime Minister apart. But it seems that the atmosphere is really turning amongst his own backbenchers. Boris
They've
Johnson's.
had enough, I think. I think they are just extraordinarily embarrassed by this behaviour.
Of a car yesterday, that's the most really we saw.
You couldn't really get a cigarette paper between the editorials today, could you? I mean, the left, right, centre, they're all saying exactly the same thing.
Now, you'll remember that when Allegra Stratton was caught in that mock press conference talking about parties which had been held, and
the cheese and wine party,
laughing and joking about it, in a press conference which actually never happened. This was a rehearsal that wasn't supposed to ever be released to the public. After that, of course, and she resigned, thought he may try and do the same thing. Up until now, they've constantly said it's going to be the same.
Well, when he made that statement after the Allegra Stratton debacle, he must have remembered that party, the one that we're talking about now. He must have remembered that 100 people had been invited. So people call him a liar. I wouldn't use that word. It's not my job as a journalist. But if he knew that he'd
so far put up for these events.
Doesn't fly, does it? Just doesn't fly.
Not today.
No.
Not in the wake of the latest allegation. So we are going to be a number of guests this morning, including Michael Rosen, who said yesterday on Twitter that he was sorry he couldn't attend a party on the 20th of May 2020 because he was in a coma at the time. Of course, he was down by COVID.
He was incredibly ill.
And Sonia Purnell, who has written extensively on Boris Johnson.
Well, she sort of has written about his psychology, hasn't she? I think she's going to be telling us that, in her view, he's an arrested child. She thinks that he's a schoolboy who gets away with being naughty over and over again, but secretly wants to be caught. Interesting take.
The key thing about Sonia Purnell is her mum died in May 2020, alone and in a care home. So two people who have a particularly strong insight into the breaking of rules in May that year.
We also have a barrister that we've invited on who's an expert in the law in this area. He's going to be predicting the kind of defence he thinks the government might try to mount, a technical defence, if you like, getting off on a technicality. And he's going to be slicing that apart for us and revealing what he thinks will be the arguments the government might bring to bear to get themselves out of this incredibly deep hole that they're in. Yeah,
Adam Wagner from Doughty Chambers.
That's right.
He is the barrister who has been leading us through all of the legals throughout the pandemic in scrupulous detail. So, at 6:07, that's our main news this morning. Boris Johnson facing that grilling in the Commons as calls grow for him to say whether he attended the drinks party in the garden of Downing Street whilst England was under strict restrictions.
Well, this is an ITV story originally. They broke it 2 days ago, but even the BBC are reporting as a matter of fact, they're saying it as a matter of fact, that he did go. He was there. So Times, not Prime Minister. Witnesses have said that Boris and his wife Carrie were amongst around 30 people who attended the event. In May 2020, he could have taught Houdini a few things about getting out of tight spots. So anything could happen. I mean, there is no way you can predict how this one's going to come out. It is our top story, of course. It's everybody's top story today. And we'll be discussing the pressure on the PM further with Andrew Pearce and Kevin Maguire, who join us, as always, in just a minute. And as we said, Labour's deputy leader, Angela Rayner, joins us in about an hour and a half. But first, here's Charlotte.
I just want to try the put a piece of bread in your mouth before you cut your onion underwater technique.
Do both. And wear goggles.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at the weather. Here's Laura.
£50,000.
Yep. What? Great.
It
was almost all your fee, wasn't it?
Lie.
Still ahead on Good Morning Britain. The nurse who was given an...
And the weather at 7:17, wherever you are.
See you in a moment.
Story of this day. With just over 4 hours to go to Prime Minister's questions, there are growing calls, continuing to grow as the hours tick by, for Boris Johnson to leave office, to resign, if he's found to have attended a lockdown-breaking party at Number 10 in May 2020.
Well, the Prime Minister has so far not given a direct response to the latest allegations and yesterday avoided an appearance in the House of Commons. Today, he can no longer hide in a fridge or wherever else he might be because he's due to face opposition MPs at Prime Minister's questions. Joining us now, the Decision Time now, and a two-part prize which is worth £130,000. Here's Andy.
As the rollout of smart motorways...
You've got to be careful with that one,
right.
but...
You know, are they going to be a bit too mild?
Maybe we should do a taste.
I'm fuming
no,
this morning.
Now I've not got the bread in my mouth.